I wanted to ask you because you talk about having to sleep at 11 and then wake up at 7.
Yeah.
But there are people, who miss that time and they say, well, I can still sleep and I can still wake up and I can still function. So what's the problem?
Perfect.
What are some of the problems
Yes.
that we don't know that we might have? I mean, in the
future.
long term, like the long term consequences of having poor sleep hygiene.
Very good question. In fact, my patients would tell me that, doc, I sleep at 3 a.m., I wake up at 10 a.m. every morning, but I'm okay. These are usually the younger ones. When you hit my age, like 50 plus, you start to realize that, you start to pay for your sins when you were young. It's called the folly of youth,
Okay.
You tend to take sleep for granted. That's the problem.
So what happens? What do you
Okay.
mean?
A lot of these patients who sleep very late at night, they have developed this thing called delayed sleep phase syndrome, as I alluded to. And because of that, when touch wood, but if there's any bereavement or any stressful periods of their life and they cannot cope, they start to, think too much. And because of the emotional disruption or stress or pressure, they start to develop insomnia and they can't fall asleep at all. Yeah. And especially if they change jobs and there's a new job that requires them to wake up at 7 a.m. So therefore, they can't fall asleep at midnight because they're used to falling asleep at 3 or 4 a.m. So they fall asleep at 3, 4 a.m., but they need to wake up by 6 to get to work by 7. So they only sleep 2, 3 hours a day. That makes them very tired. Yeah, and that affects their mood, affects their work productivity as well.
Any other things that could happen?
You see, the key thing about insomnia is the 3 Ps, we call it, which is the predisposing cause, the precipitating cause, and the perpetuating cause. The predisposing cause is usually personality. So studies have shown that patients who are a little bit more anxious type, perfectionists, those who has a to-do list, those who are a bit more kanchong than other people, they tend to sleep later. They tend to think about tomorrow's program, tomorrow's work. Yes. So these are the predisposing causes, and a precipitating cause is usually maybe a bereavement, loss in job, marital issues, emotional trauma, and then they develop this so-called severe sleeplessness. And then there's always a perpetuating cause. For example, because they're tired in the day, they drink a lot of coffee. And caffeine is bad for sleep. So they drink a lot of caffeine and then that makes things worse. Or at night, they are busy looking at social media, they're very stressed. They're trying to catch up with friends because they're working too hard. And then that affects their sleep as well.